Hi, this is Shayna from YumiYarns.com, and we are finishing up our class for the homegoing socks. Today we finished our legs. So we're all the way through from the toes, through all the cables. We're finally done with the legs, and now we are going to be doing our 1x1 half twisted rib for the cuff. So let's get started. To do this, it's really easy, kind of like how the cables were 1x1 for, or 2x2 or 2x1 for the amount of stitches that you were using. It's the same sort of concept for how ribbing is written. So 1x1 means one knit by one purl generally. But since these are half twisted, it's done through the back loop for the knit stitches, and then it's through just the front loop for the purl stitches. If it was a full twisted rib, it would be twisted for both, but this is just a half twisted rib. So to do that, we're going to knit into the back leg of this stitch and purl into the front leg, or just a normal purl into this stitch. And we're just going to keep repeating that 2-stitch repeat all the way around for however many rounds your pattern tells you, or for however long you want your cuff on your sock to be. So I'm going to go ahead and keep working on these, and as soon as I am done and my sock cuff is the length I want it to be, I will come back in and we will do our bind off so you can finish up your socks. All right, I'll see you in just a little bit. All right, welcome back. So we have all of the rounds of our cuff finished up. We are ready to bind off. My favorite bind off for stretchy things like cuffs of socks, sleeves, like cuffs of sleeves, hat brims, things like that, is the Icelandic bind off. It's similar to a standard bind off, but slightly different, and you'll see what I mean. So the first stitch, you're just going to knit like you normally would with a bind off, and then we're going to slip that stitch back to the left needle, insert or leave your right needle inserted in that stitch, and knit into the next stitch. So this is a little bit tricky. Once you get the hang of it, it isn't, but it seems more tricky than it is. So we're going to scoop up that second stitch like we're going to knit it, and then we are going to knit it, and slide both stitches off your left needle. So kind of breaking that down into parts. I kind of mash everything together as I go because it's simpler that way, and once you get the hang of it, you'll see that you'll probably end up doing that too. So slide the stitch onto your left needle, knit the second stitch on your left needle, and slide both stitches off. Do that a couple more times here. And what this does, oops, sorry guys, whoop, and messed myself up. What this does that's different than your standard bind off is it just gives you a little bit of extra stretch without flaring out or looking weird. Oops. Keep almost knocking my camera over. That would not do anybody any good. So it gives you a little extra stretch when you do it this way as opposed to the standard bind off. There we go. But there's a couple other stretchy bind offs that I know of too. Jenny's surprisingly stretchy bind off is one that's usually used for toe-up socks, but I don't like that one because it flares out. And what I mean by that is, see how this just lays nicely, nice and even. Jenny's surprisingly stretchy bind off, when I've done it in the past, it doesn't lay straight like this. It actually like kind of flares and almost looks like a ruffle. When you're wearing the sock, you can't see that at all. It doesn't show up. I'm going to show you the finished sock that I have here so you can see that it lays nice. So this one is blocked, but as you saw in the one that I'm working on, it doesn't flare out at all. Jenny's will sometimes flare and ripple at the edge, which, you know, when you're wearing it, it doesn't matter, but I like my socks to look nice when they're in the drawer too. It makes me proud of them and makes me want to wear them more when they look nice. So that's why I'm kind of picky about the bind off that I use. You could also try a sewn bind off, but you know, kind of what it sounds like, you are sewing the bind off, which isn't terrible, but it's also not my favoritist. I know that's not a word. It's not my most favorite technique. It does have its place, but it's definitely not my favorite. And I'm just gonna keep going through. Here we go. Now I'm kind of getting my groove down. I'm just gonna keep going through and binding off all these stitches, and then we will go through and weave in our ends, and our socks will be completely done. So I will finish binding these off, and I will see you in just a few moments to weave in our ends. All right, I have my last stitch here, and what I do is I just pull it up, put it through my pinky, or put my pinky through so it doesn't break off, or not break off, come undone. Snap the yarn, and then I just slide that through once and twice. It is all set there. We're just going to thread our needle and start sewing or weaving rather our ends in. I'm going to flip it so that working on the inside of the sock, and you kind of want to jump over just a little bit with this first one so that that join there at the beginning of round lays flat with the rest of your sock. And you kind of just put it through the stitches where it makes sense, since it's not a separate color or anything. It's not too terribly difficult to just kind of weave it through, sort of following the path the other threads. It doesn't have to be perfect, and it's okay to crisscross over where you've been. In fact, kind of like I just did there, you might want to do that a bit towards the beginning just to make sure that everything is nice and secure. And we'll just continue in this fashion until we've woven in an inch or so of the thread or of the yarn rather, and then we will be good. And you can just clip the ends and you are all done. This is what that edging looks like unblocked for the cuff. But thank you guys for joining me for class. I hope you enjoyed making your socks. Again, the yarn was sent to me from Lily at Merino y Vino. Check her stuff out, it's beautiful. If you've enjoyed this class, please subscribe, like the video, it really helps out the channel. And I hope you guys will join me for the next lessons. Thank you, have a great day.